Hello, 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 everyone. Sort of have the wrong Lofi station on. There we go. Tavern music. Now we got it. All right. How's everyone doing tonight? I hope you are all doing well. I myself am not doing bad. I'm just kind of tired is all. Just a little tired. I can't say that this is going to be a particularly long stream. Why do I feel like this monitor should be like to the right? Something's off here. Okay, I'm gonna try something real tricky. If I fuck something up, everyone's gonna know. Because you're gonna see... I already feel like something terrible is gonna happen. Ow. Holy God, why is this goddamn tight? What the fuck was I doing? Oh my God. Okay. Oh no, no, no. Not loose enough. Oh, why is it? If you're wondering what I'm trying to do, so I have a 3 monitor array. Okay. And the other day, I had the brilliant idea of moving my one bookcase. Okay. Now, in order for me to move the bookcase where I wanted to, which is right here, I had to move my desk about a foot to the left. Okay. Now, the thing is, that wouldn't necessarily be a big deal. And in truth, it really wasn't. But, okay, that's even. But the problem that I faced while doing it was that in an effort to move the desk, I went to lift my computer by the steel rod that my triple monitor mounting system is supported by. Now, hindsight is 20/20. I can look back on that mistake and say, yeah, I should have realized that if I try to move my desk, a giant metal and you know, particle board desk, that by the metal rod that is really only held in place by a little slab of particle board supported by a few screws held into that particle board by some, you know, plastic, you know, some plastic insets, I was gonna have a bad time. And I did. my whole monitor array basically fell towards me because the tray that everything is attached to here. I'll turn this off so you can see what I'm talking about for a second. So this is my monitor array for those curious. Yeah, you should be able to see the whole thing. Yeah, you can see the whole thing. So there's my 3 monitor array. Now, back behind there, that's the metal rod. And it's connected just down here behind my little my little desk speaker to that metal piece and to that little platform under there. Now, that is only held in place by these small little arms. I know it's really hard to see under. There you go. See all the dust and debris. But yeah, so this is the mounting piece. So this right here, of course, what the hell? Did that turn back on? Yes, it did. Okay. So this piece right here, like, lifted like that. And this whole thing just went whoosh. And it was terrifying. So and keep in mind, this isn't like 2 in the morning, like 1 o'clock, 2 in the morning. So like the rest of my family is asleep. I can't call over to my wife to have her come and help me so I can, like, you know, put it back into place. So I had to take the monitors off of the mounting rig just so that I didn't have to fight the weight of them. And once I finally got that, I was actually able to get the mount off of the platform. I unscrewed the handles underneath. I got it off of the platform, was able to get it like propped up against the wall and leaning into the desk so that I could take the platform and put those screw mounts back in, and I glued them into place. Luckily, it was just enough that that it's been able to hold, because like the setup that I have is very much like the setup that I prefer. And while I could recreate it with like external supplies, like this desk is like perfectly everything that I've always wanted. You know, it's nice having my other desk over here that I have like a little bit of room for storage. But yeah, so, and that was the other thing, like I was having to do this, like, not necessarily that I had to be like super quiet, like my mom was still awake and stuff, but like I obviously didn't want to be, you know, making a huge ruckus. But yeah, it was hell. All right, but it's resolved. I got everything on my side resolved. It was just, for some reason, the monitor was like slightly to the left. I don't know why, but now we're good. So yeah, welcome everybody to D&D&Chill. Obviously, we haven't done this series in a super long time, but recently I've been trying to get back into it, doing a couple things here and there. And if you weren't here last week with me, I started a little project that I've kind of had on the back burner for about 1.5 to 2 years, called the Tavern of Many Faces. And just to give you a quick recap of what it is and like what I'm trying to do, basically every week, or not, no, let me rephrase that. This is not going to be a weekly thing, but basically what I want to do is I want to create a series of characters and present them to an audience in a way where it is as if the audience is a group of adventurers that have walked into a tavern, much like, you know, the tavern we're in, greeted by the barkeep, and are looking for somebody to join their party. Maybe they need an artificer, maybe they need a ranger, maybe they need a barbarian, whatever the case may be. They're heading to the Tavern of Many Faces because the magic of the tavern is that the person you're looking for is generally there. And the whole thing would kind of be would be presented to the audience here. In fact, let me just bring this up. There we go. Why does it seem like it's missing something? Because we are missing like a big portion. There we go. So it would be sort of presented. This was the storyboard that I actually put together last week. Like, you would see the tavern exterior, you would see the barkeep, and then it would sort of be presented kind of like a video game in a way, where you would see the, the barkeep's portrait in the background would kind of, blur out a little bit. And, like it says here, welcome back, adventurers. Glad to see you've weathered those nasty little gnomes up in the mountains. So you've got the look of a new crew member missing. Come to find a new set of boots for your marching order. An artificer, you say? You saw. Well, you're in luck. Check by the hearth. There's a tiefling over there by the name of Cinder Wrench that might just fit the bill. But be careful around her. She's more likely to fix your problem by exploding it first. So having that, and then, introducing the character, having a small vignette of their background and stuff, and then, the outro of, like the adventurer joining the party, saying farewell to the barkeep, and then the exterior of the tavern and stuff like that. So what I worked on last week was just trying to get a handle on this a bit more, and also getting a sense of like the art that I want to use. Now, one of the pieces of art that I actually put together, no, didn't mean to, Jesus. What the heck? Hold on. Was this. So this is Al, and Al is the barkeep of the Tavern of Many Faces. And so I had already sort of decided that I talked about this last week about using AI art. And I've used AI art for other projects. I'm not a dissenter to AI tools. So I was thinking about using that, and I actually did have a picture of Al that was made using AI art. Yeah, here it is. So like that was the picture of Al that I've had for, quite a while. And then even the tavern itself, yeah, there we go. So, the Tavern of Many Faces. So like I do like this art. I don't have hundreds of dollars to, go out and pay actual artists. And I don't have the skill to design something like this myself. So AI was something I was aiming on turning to. Now, I had already thought about using Hero Forge, for example. Here's one of the characters I'm going to be working on today. To at least make the characters. One, because I like Hero Forge tokens. I like the customization. But also because I can get clean plates of them. This way I can have their portrait, without a bunch of jagged lines around it, because I can pull the full PDN. Wanted it to look like natural. Okay. Like this image looks fine because it was AI generated. And while this one is not bad, I feel like I did pretty well with getting the lighting as good as I could on him. Unfortunately, like he still has a bit of like too much front lighting, I feel like. I actually after I did this, because like this was like kind of the last thing I did last week on the stream, I actually sat down and, well, one, after the stream, I actually created Talia's token, which I really like. I think I really like her token as it is. You'll understand this pose in a little bit, but I definitely okay, for reference, this is the AI art that I had of Talia. Okay, and as you can see, it looks pretty close. I would like to say the horns are a little bit different, but technically I could change those. I tried getting like, you know, stuff that was, I wanted her outfit to look like an apron, you know, like a tinker's apron. The hair was hard to get because there's not, like, truth be told, there's not a ton of great hair options for this, because you got to remember, like, Hero Forge is not necessarily appealing to 3D model, you know, for like PC stuff. They need to make stuff that works well as a mini. But I tried getting this to be as similar as possible, and I think I did all right. But then I gave it a couple days. And I sort of sat on it, and it eventually hit me a couple days later, where what day was that? Yeah, that was Thursday. So it was a couple days later, and I had this thought. Okay, it would be easy enough for me to do something like this, and this background was pulled from Adobe. Okay, it was easy enough for me to put Al's, you know, picture over it, to erase, you know, or to essentially cut out the bar and put a layer over top of him, and I can make that work. But if I wanted to get, you know, this scene for the character and these vignettes for the individual characters, because you got to remember, this is supposed to be like a series. I want these for like every episode, so I need to be able to make these different every single episode. So I got to thinking, like, how can I do that without having to rely on AI art? Because again, while I don't mind using it, I don't want to rely on it. And trying to hunt down this image, while I obviously did it, I kind of want there to be a bit of a matching feel to the at least initial character when they're in the tavern. So I would be hard pressed to find this. So it got me thinking, well, what could I use to have like a similar environment? And I started thinking of like, it would be so cool if I could have like a 3D model of a tavern. And in fact, yo, what's up, Ms. Roy? In fact, I actually found this website called sketchfab.com, and this one in particular, Day 5 Final Tavern is a full tavern that I could full screen and everything. Okay? And I'm like, this is awesome. Okay? Like this is almost exactly what I want. And I can zoom in on things. I can zoom out. I can, you know, move myself around. I can, you know, move about this place. I'm like, sure, the lighting's not perfect, and there's definitely spots where, like, you know, you can see that it's just kind of in like a gray void. Honestly, one of the things that bothered me about this was the fact that there's this like floating one, because it's like, it's just like a note that there's like weapons back here. Another thing that sort of bothered me was, how can I get over there to show? Or wait, no, there was some over here. So this, for example, this is just Jim Beam, Bourbon, and Jack Daniel's whiskey as a texture. And not that I have anything against drinking. I don't want that in my pictures. I don't want to get sued by Jim Beam and Jack Daniels. So I was like, okay, but this sort of gave me a little bit of inspiration. I'm like, okay, I want something like this. And that made me remember back to the gloriously failed project of D&D's D&D Beyond's 3D VTT Sigil. Now, I'm not going to start Sigil because it runs very heavy. That was one of the biggest problems with Sigil. But one of the things that it came with was a pre-designed map for a tavern. Okay, yeah, it was like, they were like, oh yeah, it can run on laptops and cell phones. No, it fucking can't, okay? Like, I don't have a bad rig. Like, mine's definitely aged, you know, mine's about 5 years old. So like, I need some better stuff here and there, but like, in fairness, mine is still pretty decent, and it is not, it chugs at the best of times. But this got me thinking, like, okay, cool. I could use something like Sigil. So I went on, might be able to, yeah, no, it's not that it couldn't, it's just, it's not going to be the greatest. So I went on to Sigil and I zoomed in on the spot where the tavern, where the barkeep was. And I'm like, okay, cool. This would totally work. Like, I could make this work really well. I think I already had the image over here. Yeah. So like, I can make this work really well because this actually looks pretty decent. So what I did was I photoshopped Al into there. And you know what? I got the lighting pretty well. And you know what? I actually really liked this. And I even went through and kind of moved a couple things that were on the table. And as you can see, I took a snap of this location. And then I sat there for a while trying to find just the right pose to put Talia in. Okay. Now, unfortunately, Hero Forge is not too up on the fact that character models can sit. And the closest thing that there is to sitting for these tokens is floor time, which just looks bad, but kneeling kind of gives a little bit of a better, like, I'm sitting at, like, presentation. So that's actually what this is. This is just the kneeling pose. And I obviously had to, like, you know, crop around the table. I'm gonna admit, I actually think I did a pretty fucking phenomenal job with this cutout. Okay. I'm not the best at it, but you know what? I was very proud of this. And in fact, I got the lighting pretty well because, you know, the fire's back here. Granted, there's fire closer to her, you know, and I don't have her face lit up. Unfortunately, Hero Forge doesn't have multi-point lighting. So it's like me having these lights on the table was kind of a but I actually think this looks like a pretty decent image. So I was pretty happy. And I even made a post about it over on the Discord, and you may have seen that. Now, as I continued to think about this over the weekend, I started to think, okay, this is good right now. The tavern, I can totally work with Sigil. It's not great, and there is a chug to it, but I can make it work. Now, the problem is that if I wanted to have a setting like this that was a blacksmith, for example. So let's go back to this. So in this is obviously the scene that we have already. We can make that work. But like here, I wanted this to be, you know, at least showing, showing Talia as a bit younger, growing up in the Tinkerers Guild. This is actually the inspiration from ChatGPT that I got. Okay. And then transitioning to her creating Flicker, her little raven companion. And then Master Halvin presenting Flicker as his own creation and her being snubbed. And I will admit, these aren't perfect. They actually do kind of maintain a little bit of continuity. The horn design, unfortunately, gets fucked up amongst all of them. And then lastly, showing, I would have just put like an image of, like a fade out image of the Raven's head up here, and having her like setting out on her way. So basically, I got what I was looking for as far as AI was concerned. But then, as I had saved these, I had started to think, okay, these are fine, and I could work with this. But do I want to try and actually create these scenes in Sigil? Could I? Because there is a part of me, there is a part of me that feels like it would be better for my own presentation, but also my own, like, optics if I made them my own. Because a lot of people don't like AI art, and I don't necessarily want to add to the AI slop that's out there, and for anyone to assume that what I'm creating is AI driven. Obviously, I have used it for inspiration here and there, but I don't want it to be like, oh yeah, like you put the minimal effort in it because you can just, type in 4 sentences, get these 4 images and pop them into a video. So it got me thinking, okay, do I try and work with Sigil to create settings and vignettes and stuff, or is there another option? And that got me to a different program, one that I had never used before, but one that I was very well aware of. I don't know if I have that picture saved here, but I'm going to close a couple of these out because I don't need them at this point. Which ones are these? Yeah, no, we can get rid of that for now. I kind of want to save these just because like I want them for a little bit of look. So the thing is that I started thinking about a program that I had heard of but had never used. That is Tailspire. So Tailspire, for those that do not know, is a community-driven 3D VTT. And community-driven is the biggest part of this, okay? Now, as you can see here, it has its own tokens. There are community available tokens. And those tokens, in general, match the aesthetic and the look of the maps, which works for what I'm doing. Now, I didn't know if it would be exactly what I needed. But as you can see, you can go in with pre-built assets and pop them in as you need and design what you have to. Obviously, you can do this in Sigil as well. But I thought to myself, you know what? I've been looking at Tailspire for a long time. I've never really been interested in using it to run games, but maybe this would be something that I could make work. So I bought it. It was like 25 bucks. And I realized something very quickly. And that is that it kind of fixes the whole issue that I had with not wanting to have to go in and create every single asset that I want to use. So I will admit, this is only like my third or fourth time using this. Obviously, I have a lot of learning to do with it, so there is going to be some time where I have to sit and play with this program. But, so we'll go up into the unknown realm. It's just the first one that it's called. Now, I've already uploaded a bunch of stuff into here, okay? And what I mean by uploaded is if I press spacebar, which I actually lost this menu for the longest time. I had to watch a YouTube video on how to put them up. So if I go into here, I go into build mode at the very top of the screen. I know it's incredibly hard to see the screen. So you know what? Let me switch. How do I want to do this? You know, I'm not going to switch anything. All I'm going to do, I'm just going to do that for the time being. And nope, don't want to do that. I'm just going to move my camera up. Nope. Let's move that back down. Okay, I don't want to mess up this setup here. Okay, hold on. We're just going to switch over to just me. There we go. Perfect. And I think this has chat somewhere. Testing. Doesn't look like it. Where is it? Oh, weird. Oh, that's why, because it's below. Okay, cool. All right, I was going to put that over here for the time being. Okay, cool. So this is Tailspire. And one of the awesome things that I've been learning about this for over the past like 2 days is if I press space and I open up the library down here and I'm in build mode, I can go to community content, and this is a repository of 11,000 different tokens. Okay. And you can see that, like, if all I have to do is I have to click it and I can pop them on the field. Now, I have not yet learned how to actually, like, you know, take control of this character. Also, or how to, oh yeah, there we go. So like, obviously this kind of just looks like Dritz Doerden. But the cool thing about this is that, you know, I can hold them, I can rotate them, I can get a bunch of different things. Now, I'm not huge on the platforms. Obviously, this is meant to look like, you know, a tabletop. But the other thing that this has is in the bottom left corner over there, slabs. And there's about 6,000 slabs, and a slab is somebody, you know, let's get rid of him for a moment. A slab is a giant template that you can just drop in and it's done. Somebody created this on their own, saved it, and published it. Okay. And that is what all of these are. So I went down into the repository and I typed in tavern to pull up a couple of them. So if I didn't mean to grab that. So if I exit building mode and I zoom in, you can see these have full interiors. Now it's a little hard to like look around. I actually only just learned this. On the right hand side, this green little diamond up at the top, if you right click, it goes into focus mode, and you can actually drag this green down. And what that'll do is as you zoom in, wherever this is, it'll actually get rid of stuff. So for example, I can now look down into this level And as I zoom out, it will, you know, go back to normal. But I can go in here now, and like you can already see, I've placed a couple tokens just to test some stuff. Like here's a random barkeep. Okay. I can go into here and, you know, just sort of position things, like see where I like stuff, and even just have background characters. Okay. So now this is fine. Let's actually raise this up a little bit so we have the ceiling in place. So this way we're not, you know, losing some stuff up there. And let's just say, for example, I really like this tavern, but I want to get rid of this pig here. Cool. Click it. Oh my God, where'd it go? There it is. And just right click. Cool. It's gone. I can exit building mode. Now I have a good, clean template. Maybe I don't want this lantern. Actually, maybe I do. There we go. But let's put it, why is it snapping like that? Let's put it over there. Perfect. Okay, so now this looks fine. And let's just say, for example, that I didn't have this dude sitting right there, but this is where I wanted to have Al. Okay. The cool thing about this is that it has a photo mode. So if I press the button that I've assigned for that, oh wait, we gotta raise that up just a hair. So if I press the key that I've assigned to that, I can go into here. I can actually change my focal length, which is absolutely fantastic. I can also just turn off depth of field if I don't want to worry about that. But like, you know, it's kind of cool to have the stuff, you know, right here out of focus. But I can also go into free camera, and I can just move myself around to position the camera wherever I'd like, just to get that right angle. And let's just say this is what I want. Okay. So now I can hit this button. This will then send it over to a folder that I have pulled up on my other window. And now I was like, okay, cool. So like this would work. But here's again the problem that I faced before with Talia is, what do I do now trying to match up, you know, Talia to this scene? Okay. So obviously for Al, this would be super easy. I didn't mean to click over there. This would be super easy. You know, I'd literally just need to pose him, set up the light so that it's kind of on his face, and that would be the end of it. But for all the other characters, and if I wanted to do the vignettes in this, I would need to have them in slightly more dynamic poses and interacting with potential objects. I love this whole thing. This is so great. So if I come out here, oh, also I can also change the, I can also change whether it's like, you know, daytime or nighttime. I love this. So this over here is a forge. Okay. So we can increase the brightness there. We'll just decrease it a little. We'll give it a little bit an evening glow. Okay. So this is a forge. And I was like, I really like this. I think this would work really well for Talia. And for what it's worth, I actually have, you can go into the slabs. And so I would honestly be able to, like, I would want to make sure that I tag whoever the creator is. Like, this one is Black Wolf Magic. So it's a Japanese castle blacksmith, and I assume S means small. So I was like, okay, this is great. I think this is a really cool scene. And I want this to be kind of inspired now by this image. Now, obviously, I could go in and let's just say, you know, I go in and we'll pull up, let's see. Okay, so if I search up blacksmith, cool. All right, so I got a blacksmith here. So we could download him and drop him into the background like this, and maybe like let's rotate him just a hair. Okay, cool. So, you know, he's gonna stand there like that, and he already has a bit of like a disapproving look to him, right? And maybe, I mean, hell, that wouldn't be right, but like, okay, Warforged, probably also not the greatest one. I've also not touched any of these features, so don't know what any of this do. I mean, I obviously understand what stats are. I haven't messed with any of this. I also love the fact that each one can have a torch. But so I was thinking, okay, like, this is great. I think this is really cool. And you know what? Hold on. I want to know GM tools. Oh, can I get rid of the base? Fuck. I don't know if I can't. Oh, make unique. Oh, is that what that is? There's a button over here. If I press space, it's like unique characters. Interesting. Okay, well then that's how you make player characters. So now I understand. Okay, so I need to. Oops. I want to know. Gonna Google this real fast. Tail spire. Remove base. Is there a way to hide it? Lovely. I'm using R2 Modman with Lord Ash's hide base plugin, but I can't seem to get it to work. So there is a whole thing through R2 Modman. Would love this. I've planned blah blah blah. Toggle base collision. Oh, wait a minute. I actually just had a thought. Oh god. No, get rid of you. How do I get rid of you? Oh wait, I can just right click and kill creature. Okay, wait. So if I hold Alt, damn it. So I can lift stuff into the air, but I can't move it down through the floor. Cause yeah, you can't put creatures on other creatures. I actually do have R2 Modman. I'm getting ahead of myself. I really don't need to worry about this. But I'm still gonna do it. Unable. Okay, so if we go into here, oh, look at that. Lord Ashes has a bunch. We want hide base. So we're going to download that. We're going to download all the dependencies. Cool. So now that I have that done, I'll get to that in a minute because I'm going to have to restart it. But anyway, so here was my thought process. Okay. I'm like, okay, good. I am kind of where I want to be with this. Move that down here for the intended audience. So that is a thing. Like, obviously I'm not presenting this in a way that like I am artistic. I'm presenting this in a way like yeah, hey, you know what? We are tabletop players, and this is for what that's for. So having that bit of the aesthetic with the Hero Forge stuff, I feel like it would work well, and I feel like people might appreciate it. So this was my idea. Now I got to the point of like, okay, so how do I get rid of the user interface for photos? Okay, cool. There's a photo mode. So if I go into there and I press the photo mode, I can change, you know, the lighting. So, okay, so here we go. We got some lighting in here, and I can click the H button to get rid of all this. And then I can move the camera into just the right spot. Actually, I kind of want to raise that up to make sure that we get the roof in there. There we go. And I get it like just in the right spot, you know, like having somebody disapprovingly looking over her shoulder and stuff like that. And so I could snap this. Okay. Now I had the thought like, okay, cool. So this is a great way to get my scenes, but how do I then go from this to getting this to match the right, you know, position? And I was having a hard time with that, and I couldn't really figure out, you know, like, obviously I can make it work. Like, I can go back and forth a lot, and, you know, I could live with it. But then, yeah, what the Black Wolf Magic literally in the chat. What is going on? What's up, man? Thanks for making this, this, what the hell? Okay, somebody must have gotten a hold of you. Thanks for making this awesome blacksmith background. Yeah. I want to give you the biggest shout out, man. Like, this thing is awesome. I pulled up your thing today. So, yeah. You lurk through Tailspire streams, dude. That's badass. I'm literally talking about yours and was like sharing with it, dude. That is baller. I guess I could change this to Tailspire. I could change the thing to Tailspire. That is amazing, dude. Welcome. I really appreciate your hard work. So as I was saying, love the background, you know, can have a token in here, but then I have to figure out, okay, so how am I going to take my Hero Forge mini and put this on top of that to make it work? Because I kind of have to go back and forth, or I have to have this really small window, and going into here to get it positioned just right would be a little difficult. Until I found out just this morning about a program called Peek Through. Okay. So Peek Through is an application you can download for your PC, and you tie it to a button prompt, and it allows you to set a Windows transparency, but you can still utilize that window. So this got me thinking, well, this is perfect because I can essentially just position the scene exactly how I want it, and then position the character right where I would want them in the scene. Okay, so like, for example, with Talia here, I kind of want her like standing a little behind the anvil. So now obviously one of the biggest struggles that I'm going to face with this is trying to get it exactly perfect, because I kind of want to, you know, I kind of have to have it like right here. Okay. So if I make her, you know, back here, and I get that just right, like just where I would want it. 'Cause like this right there seems pretty perfect for what I'm looking for, right? Because with this, it'll kind of have her, you know, it'll kind of have her standing right there with like with the ingot in her hand just over the anvil, and I can set the lighting so that it is like as far behind her as I can get. I don't want it obviously in front because the fire isn't in front of her, but I can have it above, and that works. I can even lower the intensity, and I am definitely using the cabin environment for basically everything because it gives me that feel that I want. And then I can even, you know, change up the ambiance, get a little bit of that, you know, forge glow. Now what I can do is I can capture this at, you know, a 2048 exposure. I can go into here and I can snap this. Okay. So now we'll pull up. I actually did this before, but I kind of like this new one with the dude in the background. So we'll go into here and we will pull him in, and then we will grab the Talia portrait and open that. And then we can, because this puts it in such a high resolution, we can just grab her, go into here, paste her. She's already bigger than the whole scene. Scale her down to where we were thinking. And the nice thing is I can play with this as much as I want. Okay, so let's say we want it right about there. And let's scale her up just a hair more. Cool. Yeah. That looks about right. I think the angle's slightly off. She seems really close. But let's scale her up just a hair more. Okay. All right. So let's just say this works. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take her. I'm going to screen grab and invert, and then I'm going to copy the background, and I'm going to paste that over top of her. And then from this, I can go in and erase. Now, we're gonna let my my passport background erasing skills, you know, come to life. And what we'll do is we'll just trace around the edge of this anvil. Okay? Because realistically, like, that's what we want, you know? And up here, like, we can just, you know, get her back in fully up there. And then we'll get her hands. We'll say maybe she's like holding this over the anvil. Probably, I mean, I did this quickly. We'd have to like refine the edges and get the angle just right. Okay, so do this. And the nice thing is with doing it this way is that I still have not only her full image still left, because I tried this a couple times, and one of the things that I was doing was I was erasing the token, and it makes it a little bit harder if you have to like fix your mistakes essentially. So there we go. Well, didn't like that. I will admit I do this at like my job when I'm erasing the background on passport photos. So my my edge finding is actually pretty on point, as one of the things that I take pride in, a little bit of skill. So in there, again, not perfect. I actually had one before that I liked a little bit more. I think I had the color of the background done better. I think I had the angle a little better. Kind of wish that I had the dude in the background. I sort of like that. But yeah, so this is kind of where I'm at now. You know, this is what I am working with at this point. And the nice thing is that I can, you know, go back into Tailspire and I can, you know, fish around and find, you know, these different slabs and stuff. I should kill that guy. You know, I can find these amazing slabs like the one that, you know, Black Wolf Magic made. As you can see, I tried, I wanted to have there to be like something in the background, so I just duplicated his thing. Yeah, see, like this is kind of the feel that I want. I want it to be like nighttime. I want it to feel like a hot furnace in here. You know, and having this dude back there who's like disapprovingly staring at the, you know, this young tiefling who's trying just to prove herself, and he's all like, well, you're just a tiefling, blah blah blah. So that's kind of my plan. Like I said, I never used, you know, Tailspire before like 2 days ago. So there's a lot that I still have to learn with the program to like really figure out what I want to do with it. Are you doing scenery for storage? So Magic, basically what I'm doing is I've had this project sort of mulling over in my head for like a year and a half. And the idea is to present characters to an audience that is the adventuring party. So essentially the scene would start out with like the tavern exterior, which, where was the one I made? Here we go. So like this, for example, this is the image that I made for the tavern exterior. So, you know, it would kind of zoom in on there, and then you would see our, you know, wonderful tavern master, Al, where's the new one that I did? Here we go. You know, so you'd have him in the background, and then his picture would pop up in front of that, kind of like this image off to the right, and he would introduce to the party and be like, hey, welcome to the Tavern of Many Faces. You know, oh, you're looking for a tinkerer, an artificer. Check by the hearth. And then we would jump over to, where did I have it? Talia. Here we go. We would jump over to this image of Talia. Now this was from Sigil. This background was from Sigil. I think Sigil looks a little more cinematic. I think Tailspire looks more like game boardy, but Sigil is just trash. It just doesn't run well, and I can't run multiple things with it. So, you know, the party would eventually, you know, the party would basically go up and be like, yeah, it looks more like a video game than than an actual board game. Which, granted, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't mind having like the board game, like the video game look. I think it fits more the idea I've always had about this project, but to have a cohesive look to everything, Tailspire fulfills that. So we would have something like this. You know, this would be the background of of Talia's scene, essentially. I don't know, I'm cropping that. Even flaws in some of the Tailspire props with finger. That's awesome. I didn't know that. And then having oh god, where is it? I know it's in here somewhere. Talia portrait? Is it? No, don't do that. Which one's this? Oh yeah, so what about this one? Yeah, see how many times I had to redo these? I don't actually think I made one of just Talia looking forward. No, I did. Okay, good. Okay, so like, Talia would pop up, and like a chat box would then, pop up in front of her, and she'd be like, hey, I heard you're looking for a tinker or whatever. And then The only concern I would have is the texture difference between the two may cause some dysphoria. Yeah, no, that is like the reality of it, of like using Hero Forge and Tailspire. It is something that I'm like having to make a concession, because my initial plan was to just rely on AI art, but I don't want to do that. And unfortunately, I don't have a better system of creating tokens for Tailspire. Okay, I'm aware that can be a thing. I don't know how to do that. I've only used Tailspire for a day, and I've like crammed as much information as I could. If you have a link to a video or like to a website that walks through that, I would love nothing more than that. Or if you want to, you know, send me a DM or something to explain how to do that, because like I have a membership to Hero Forge, so I can get like the STLs from it. But I just don't know. The setting page. Oh, it's on the setting page? What? Oh my God! No fucking way! What is... Okay. Okay. What's a Hero Forge access code? Access codes. Fuck. How do I connect? Log into, go click on personal information. Here you'll find... Okay, let me... Oh. Alright, hold on. I don't want you guys seeing my code. Why did that not go away? What? Oh, that's really funny. Okay. Okay. Tailspire's getting the hang of the controls, but you can... Yeah. Dude, Black Wolf, you are the best. You know what? Yeah, let me just authenticate with Steam, just for shits and giggles. Yep. Okay, so I've connected my Hero Forge. So now what? Oh, okay. Yeah, obviously I don't have... So, okay, so Hero Forge access key, blah, 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 blah. Supported platforms article. Here we go. Follow this link to read the instructions. Perfect. Hey, okay, so go into here, select your access key, select the settings. Okay, adding your miniature to camp. Now that your account is linked, you can choose which ones. There is no limit. This is for printing. Minis must be purchased. Oh, wait, hold on. Now that your account is linked, you can choose which miniatures are shared with which campaign. You can link each miniature to multiple campaigns. The UI is slightly different for GMs than it is for players, so feel free to jump to the bit that suits you best. Read them both. Okay, so important. Minis must be purchased as 3D digital to work with Tailspire. Do not buy an STL if your goal is to use the mini in Tailspire. I appreciate them telling me that. Okay. So I guess I'd have to go to buy and 3D digital, $7. Oh, $8, but that's gonna get expensive fast. Okay, so yeah, for Tailspire, I waited to get mine when they were on Black Friday, so that makes sense. Uses its own uniquely styled bases instead of your chosen base. Okay, so yeah, I only just have it on this little like peg thing. Okay, so I kind of want to know okay, are fully rendered with all your colors. Okay, so it is also pulling the full pose as well. So I would have to make sure you make slabs and decorator kits. Good, dude, you're a baller. That looks really good though. Okay, so let me process this through in my mind. If I have one scene with Al that I maintain throughout any given episode, that right there is an $8 purchase. If I then have a single character who would have an introduction scene at like a table or something, I'd have to have a, well, no, because I couldn't do that actually. I wouldn't be able to do it the way that I want. Shit. Because like this would be fantastic. But the problem is that for a scene where like a character is sitting, like where the character is sitting at like a chair, I wouldn't be able to do that. You know, because like if I wanted it to be, this tavern's too busy. I wasn't a fan of that one. Which one did I actually like? Oh, it was this one in the corner. Right, was it this one? No, it was this one. Because I even took like a chunk out the back. Yeah, there it is. Yeah, I liked this one. Yeah, so if I wanted to have like, you know, here's a great one. Here's a good one. So like if I wanted to have her like, you know, sitting at this table or something, I'd have to have like a token for there sitting. And then I would have to have another token. Oh, see, it would be a fantastic idea if I was actually running games on this. But I think for what I'm doing, it's not the right call to do, at least, you know, importing the stuff in there. Like, it is cool to have this guy, although I do want to actually shut this down and reload this using the R2 mod man, hiding the base plugin. I want to see if that works. Because like the collision, like to get it to fit exactly what I want.
You are using the asset data plugin, but you have not downloaded and configured a required message distributor. Please refer to the asset data plugin documentation to determine how to remedy this situation.
Okay.
Your Tailspire will not work correctly without addressing this issue.
Okay. Which one? I can always just run it vanilla. Yeah, okay, he's still there. Okay. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I know that's definitely gonna be a factor that I kind of have to live with, is that the Hero Forge mini is just gonna look different. Some good mods, but I only use the image to plane on HoloFox. It lets you project an image on the build force. So you need. Oh, that's cool. That's badass. I think I'm just gonna like. I think I'm just gonna try and play with it. So let's not add depth of field. Just talk that Tailspire will have integrated mini builders, but that is in a future release. See, I would love that. Like, if there was a way to, like, if you had a, I guess, I'm gonna say it this way because I have one, but like, if you have a subscription to Hero Forge, it would be really cool if you could build like a Hero Forge mini in it. Or like import it directly. I sort of like this. I want to cap this. Okay, so now let's go back to here and use peek through. I just kind of wish that, like, I could have the sun, like, more behind her. That's actually not the worst. Okay. Let's capture that. Download. So that is Talia number 4. See, I'd love that. I'd love to have a token generator. And I will say that is actually one of the things that I did like about Sigil. I liked that Sigil had a token builder in it. Like, I had already kind of figured that if I would use that, that if I actually would use Sigil for really anything, I think she just needs to be bigger, honestly. That seems way too close. You know what I can do? Just had the thought. Oh, I was about to say, wait, what? Free. Yeah, okay, so Hero Forge is right there. So if I actually were to upload them, how much would that be? Every episode would be $40 because I would need 5. Unless I just made all their poses like as similar to. I couldn't have them sitting in any of them. They'd all have to be standing. Okay, so if I. Where's the... There it is. Okay. So if I... here's a cheap way of doing this. Feeling just had a new asset really... Oh, dude. Baller. Okay, so if I sort of line them up in a similar way, she needs to be slightly smaller. Okay. Interesting. All right, let me just see what this looks like once I... Whoops.
Say hello to the bard from a tavern's far, far away. I've come to sing my song tonight. You're welcome to stay. Put aside your fears and worries just for
Yeah.
I've told so many stories, many battles I've seen. I rode with mighty warriors, kings.
Not as happy with that.
None of them had coin enough to keep me for long. 'Cause the road is long and the life is short, let's sing along. Say hello to the bard from a tavern's far, far away. I've come to sing my song tonight, you're welcome to stay. Put aside your fears and worries, just for tonight. We'll feast and drink together till the morning light.
I wonder if putting her there would actually
Be breaking, I must be on my way.
make it a little
Come back
better.
soon and sing for you again one day. 'Cause road is calling me, my friends, adventures await. So here's one final rhyme for you, you've all been great.
The song is called
Go to the bar from a tavern's
Bard from
I've come to sing my
the Tavern's Bar.
day. Put aside your fears and worries, just for the night. We'll feast and drink together till the morning light.
That's not bad. Definitely wish like the shadow on her face was a little heavier. Just to kind of match his, but technically speaking, I could. I could just. Add a little bit of that shadow shelf. Because it's honestly easy enough just to go boop, and then invert that and go back into here. And Ugh. All right. So that would be like the first scene. So what would be the next one? Okay. So it would be her making flicker. So if we're doing her making flicker, this one actually requires me to kind of keep a similar like position in a sense. But I don't know what all there is tool-wise. What is that? Glow stick. Jesus Christ. Oh, here we go. Got tongs. Oh, I was actually thinking about a screwdriver. All right. The fuck, clockwork cane. That's kind of crazy. Okay, so what if I just say screw it on the tool? Oh, look at that tiny little scalpel. Okay. I know Raven's an option in here. And we can change the pose. And you know what? Actually, we can put, like, the wrench back in her hand. I really like this pose, actually. But I want her to now have, like, smile? We need to do the color. Oh, I had him like this in the pictures. And I want his eyes to match her goggles. Oop, wrong button. There we go. Okay. So back at the tavern, I'm gonna get rid of that dude. I don't know how to unhide him, but I'm okay with that. So let's go into photo mode. Maybe. I now kind of want this to be like a little bit of like a scene behind her. Hey, Magic, if you are still in the chat, and thank you if you are, how do I move slabs once they are like down? Because I know that I can like, hey, welcome, thank you. I know that I can move pieces, but how do I move like a whole ass slab. Because I want to move this whole thing essentially over to here. It's like the selection box tool on the bar. That? Oh, nope, that wasn't right. Draw a big box around the slab you want. You can draw in 2 directions, up or down. Oh. What? What in the dickety do? Oh, no fucking way. And I accidentally took a bit of that other roof. My bad, roof. Oh, you know what? Honestly, now that I know that, though, I can do that and then go up and just cut it. Hey, that worked. Sweet. See, honestly, I don't even necessarily need a lot, but I do want to snag that, and then we're going to go up and we're going to copy it. And now I know how to, nope. I was going to say, I know how to rotate, and apparently I don't, because it's middle mouse button. Okay. That's good. Now I have something at least in the background to sort of play it off. Oh, hey, look, there he is. How did I... Okay. I think because I was in build mode. There, okay, so it's in build mode that I can see him. Okay, that is actually really good to know. Okay. So if this is the scene that I want, tab will oh, okay, must be once I'm out of photo mode. Okay. So oh, you know what? Put the roof back on, baby. There we go. Because I kind of want her, like, holding him up. That bucket is so fucking huge. Can I, like, reduce the size of an object? You know what? I'm just going to put it over there just to get it out of my way. Okay. Can't change the size. You can alter the direction by 12 degrees. Gotcha. I think this is a good shot, though. Click the item, hold the Alt key, and then roll the mouse wheel. Gotcha. Okay. Okay. Oh, you know what I should be doing? No, I don't want the pedestal. But I should give it the base. And then when I go into here, I can pull that up. And I can sort of use that to, like, adjust the size that I'm looking for. Like, the angle. Okay, so now let's take the light, because the light now should be over here. And we're going to crank that intensity, and we're going to make it a little yellow. You know what I should be doing? I did it before. So why don't I just do it now? Can I just... Fuck's this guy? Sure? Yeah, there we go. This dude's fucking huge. What the fuck? Is it just me, or is that guy just, like, huge? What the shit? Let's look. I had that one barkeep. Here he is. Oh, yeah, okay, so that other guy was just fucking huge. Okay, so the light is sort of, like, really front heavy. Okay. I definitely fucked up because I moved the camera. So now I just gotta go into here and pull this up. And go back into here. As long as off, and the player built models can get even worse. I was gonna say, that was pretty fucking huge. Let's drop that intensity. It's a little too much. Okay, that's not bad. Okay. So let's cap that. I already have the other image. So let's go back into Paint. Upload that. Talia Portrait 5. Copy. Paste. Keep canvas size. And now we can play with that. Wouldn't have affected my other one, but boy, oh boy, did I just realize something that I will have to take into account. All right, let's see if I can cheat this. Okay. Nope, that's not going to turn out well. Okay, so if I at least do this. Okay, so if I at least do that, I can... Oh, wait, actually, you know what? I don't have to erase some of those hard lines because I can do a Gaussian blur and just... I'll just increase the opacity just a hair and make sure that I erase everything. Nope. Invert. Everything on her. Boom! Added a little shadow. Okay. So we have, you know, her getting the judgmental stares. We have her creating flicker. Shit. I just realized, if I mention an NPC, if I mention a character from her backstory, like Master Halvin, it would be right there, who is right there. I would have to create his token as well. He's gonna have to have the bird. Okay. That's okay. I'm gonna save this as Talia 2. And then I wonder, what is Heroes? Oh yeah, what the fuck am I talking about? Oh wait, I'm just gonna use some of my own tokens. I got plenty. So who could her mentor? Drunin. I'm sorry, Drunin. Oh, you know what? It's gonna be Drunin. I feel bad, like, knowing the backstory that I made for this guy, I sort of feel terrible that I'm like, you know, it's like, if you don't, I don't know if I don't know if I ever fully, read Drunin's background before, but Drunin was a he was a blacksmith in a town where he was, oh God, well, it's gonna kill me getting completely sidetracked. Here it is. Yeah. Drunin, the old blacksmith of the kingdom, is sworn to protect the heir to the throne when the kingdom is attacked. Drunin was the childhood friend of the king, growing up inside the castle together as the son of the prince's nursemaid. As he grew, he trained in the art of armed combat as a defender of the prince. Eventually, Drunin was required to choose either martial service to the crown or to perform duties for the kingdom. Drunin was always drawn to the forge, enjoying the mending of steel as his mother enjoyed the mending of flesh. As the years went by, Drunin and the king drifted apart. Drunin spent his life managing his forge, eventually marrying, becoming widowed and marrying again. But unlike the king, who ruled the lands with his wife, 2 sons and a daughter, Drunin never reared children of his own, much to his wife's dismay. When the battle horn sounded, Drunnen was awoken by a deep slumber. He heard the calamity outside his house and could see the flames roaring at the castle. He woke his wife, and the two of them pushed open. The two of them quickly moved to collect as much of their belongings as they could. As they attempted to leave, their door was pushed open by members of the King's Guard, who demanded Drunnen's aid in providing his mettle in this moment of urgency. One of the guards offered to escort Drunnen's wife to the docks to board an evacuation ship. Drunnen, feeling a sense of duty to his old friend, bid a bitter farewell to his beloved and set forth towards the castle, bundles of steel in arms. Inside the keep, chaos ensued. Drunnen, calling upon the training from his youth, forged through the bailey towards the castle to try and find his old friend. Looking around, trying to locate the king, Drunnen remembered the old tunnel that led behind a sizable mossy rock in the back of the castle. He and the king used to sneak out there to avoid the old groundskeeper when they were children, and Drunnen knew that if things got bad, the king might seek the path to escape. Moving quickly, Drunnen tested sword and shield against the invaders, never getting a good look at the foes he slew. All he knew was to aim for red and black, as the silver and blue garb showed his allies. And you can see he's wearing red and black. When he reached the tunnel beyond the rock, he found it was disturbed and trampled through. Fearing the worst, Drunnen pushed through the vines and brush, and the smell of iron hit his nose. A moment of worry came over him as the sound of blood underfoot made him pause. Pushing through the thoughts, he reached the end of the corridor and came upon his worst fears. There in a pool of blood lie his friend, the king, and his youngest child. Hearing the intruder, the child quickly drew a dagger from his father's belt and turned quickly. Why did I put quickly in the same sentence twice? Wielding it against Drunnen, but when the king's eyes met Drunnen, he weakly raised his arm to stop his child. Drunnen quickly assessed his friend's condition, but knew too well that he would not make daybreak. The king looked at his old friend and smiled. Drunnen, they came in the night, on the eve of my anniversary. They killed her. They killed them all but... As he spoke, he pressed his blood-soaked hand into his child's cheek. You will carry on in my place. Drunnen, take find a Theron. Thank you, old friend. I had like pauses in there, but it was, this was supposed to be cinematic. At this, the king's hand fell lifeless. The child began to sob as Drunnen carefully closed the eyes of his liege. Quickly grabbing the I put quickly so many times. Quickly grabbing the child, Drunnen pushed back through the corridor to escape the castle. Having a penchant for exploration as a child, he knew the grounds of the keep well and began to recall the layout of other hidden ins and outs that they could use to escape. As the two of them finally cleared the keep, Drunnen looked to the young heir and explained that they would head to the docks to escape with the others. But as the two rounded the thickets of bushes and came in view of the piers, they witnessed the seaborne attack that leveled the docks and all present ships. As the light from the flames flickered in Drunnen's eyes, he felt his heart break as the ships at sea began to catch flame and sink. Staring in awe at the destruction, Drunnen's mind drifted to the thought of his wife being led away by the guard when they left his house. The child called to Drunnen, snapping him back to reality as they pointed out a troop of invaders making their way towards them. Knowing what he must do, Drunnen took the child in his arms and ran as fast as he could. That night, Drunnen vowed on his wife's life and that of the king that he would protect this child with his life and return them to the throne as their rightful heir they are. Drunnen was a baller. But now we are going to make him Master Halsin. Update old head. Oh, okay. We're going to do a big smile, and we're going to do the great. Bro, those teeth. Dude, your eyes are so glossy. Yeah, let's give you gray eye. Oh, gray dilated. No thanks. There we go. Also, where's that glove? Yeah, let's get you that same glove. Crazy that they mismatch, but I kind of dig it. Okay. So now we need to pose him properly. I kind of want him like... Oh, that's perfect. That's fucking perfect. Too bad I can't pose the bird. At least I don't think. No. I wonder if it's I wonder if there is like a raven with its, you know, arms open. Oh, that's right. I could yeah, oh my god, that's right. Oh shit. I forgot that was like a whole thing. All right, hold on. I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save this as Master Halvin. Just real quick. Raven. Here we go. Do these have different poses? Not with its wings open. Oh, wait. Oh, Jesus fucking Christ. That looks so dumb. I think the problem is the pose is also not helping it. There we go. That's actually not bad. Okay, hold on. That's actually pretty decent. All right. Yeah, so get that, and then you have the fire in your eyes. All right, so we're gonna name this as Flicker. All right, so now, oh, I didn't mean to click that. What the fuck is wrong with me? So we're gonna go back into here. Let's find Master Halvin. Ow. I think there are if you treat him as a secondary character. Yeah. All right, we're gonna see if this will work. All right, so gear, import, and we want Flicker. Yes, that is exactly what I wanted. That is exactly what I wanted. I wanted him to be like fluttering. I kind of wish that I could like rotate him though. Ugh. Oh, wait, what? Is that what I was doing? Hold the phone. Edit right. I can just full on. Yeah, but ooh, you know what? I like that. I can scale him, but I want to keep him. I want to keep him about the same scale. I just want him to have his wings up. Like that's the main thing for me. Oh my god! I also forgot about kit bashing in this. Oh, they're just like all the same. Okay. Holy fuck! We can just change all the shit. Okay. I actually really dig this. I do want to go back to Halvin's face. I don't want his teeth showing that much. I want him smiling. I want him super happy. And yeah, smirk. Smirk. We want smirking great. Will your main character have secondary characters or adversaries? I don't necessarily want to say like yes or no. Because I don't know. Also, why am I not in the tavern anymore? Yeah, there we go. We'll just go back to the tavern. Continue working. I don't know. Like, all the characters, because I've made up 13 characters for this. And just to give you like a general idea, because I mean this will kind of give you an idea of like the episodes to come, essentially. I'm saving this as a copy. So yeah, obviously we have Talia that we've already talked about. But then we have Hrothgar Brimhide, who is the quote unquote last of the Heights. So he carries the bones of his tribe's chieftain. And in a carved totem around his neck, a dragon destroyed their home, their home in the mountains. When a dragon destroyed their mountain home, Hrothgar swore an oath to bring the beast's skull to rest beside his fallen kin. Every battle since has been one step closer to vengeance or to joining them. So in that respect, like the different scenes in that, like the different vignettes that would be in that one would be like, you know, him at the like clan home, you know, up in the mountains. So I'm like, I'm gonna have to find like a mountain scene in a way, and have some, you know, like maybe have him like looking out over the mountain, because it's like up in Icewind Dale, it's in the spine of the world, and then a red dragon that has just like, you know, decimated the area, and then like him clutching the shattered and burnt bones of his chieftain, who was his father. The chieftain was his father. And then like, you know, the next scene kind of like with Talia, you know, it's like her going out to like make a name for herself and, you know, become somebody. So like those would be the different scenes for him. Up next we have Lyra Dovetail, who is a halfling bard. Once a court jester in a tyrant's court, Lyra smuggled secrets between servants in coded songs. Her final act was a satire, so cutting it sparked a rebellion and earned her a price on her head. So she now travels under false names, singing of heroes who never existed. So for that, it would probably be like the first image would probably, there may be only like 3 images for her, so it would probably be like her dressed up as like a court jester, and then like her sneaking a piece of paper, or like having a piece of paper in her hands, and then like pointing and laughing at you know, at like a noble, and then, you know, next would be like her but with like a hood pulled over her in a dark alley, you know, or like in a tavern singing, something like that. Up next we have Brother Kaelin Morrowind, who is a half-elf cleric. Kalen once served a god of mercy, but when plague ravaged his temple and the prayers went unanswered, his faith was fractured. Now he wanders the roads offering healing, not for divine favor, but from sheer stubborn compassion. Some whisper that he channels a different power entirely, one that grows from within. So for him, the 4 panels would probably be like him in service of, you know, of his god, and then like him standing before a barren field, or like possibly possibly somebody like, you know, sick in front of him. And then like the third one would probably be him like, you know, walking away from his holy symbol. And then the last one would be him like on the road, with like a bit of a shadow over him, maybe. Then we have Thalesra Moonglen, who is a wood elf druid. The forest she guarded has vanished, devoured by a creeping crystal that spreads across the land. She seeks its source, haunted by dreams of an ancient tree screaming in silence. The spirits of her lost grove guide her, but sometimes they whisper wrong things. So for that, it would probably be like her in a forest, and then like her in front of these crystals, and then her like maybe with like a bit of a haze in front of her, there's a giant tree, and then lastly would be like her walking with some ghosts. I don't know, that was when I was putting this one together, I had this idea of like a druidic subclass that like speaks to the spirits, because I think whenever I put that one together, I like found one like that. Then we have Sir Darian Holt, a human fighter. Once a celebrated champion, Darian fled the battlefield after freezing in terror during a doomed charge. Now he hires his blade in quiet taverns under assumed names, trying to forget the sound of dying comrades, and the prophecy that said he would be their savior. So, you know, he was this bannered knight of renown. So probably like him standing, you know, in front of him standing in a bunch of armor, and then he froze on the battlefield where his men died around him. So possibly some, you know, dead bodies on the ground. And then him like, you know, in tarnished armor, where he is, you know, again, kind of like in shadow. But then like the last scene, you know, like he cleans his blade every night and, you know, sees the reflections of his dead comrades. Then we have Sori Jin, who is a human monk. Ooh, excuse me. Trained in a monastery that revered the elemental balance. Sori was exiled after unleashing forbidden chi in defense of his sisters. Or wait, what did I... No, not his sisters. What the hell am I doing? Her sisters. This character was a female. Yeah. Sori was exiled after unleashing forbidden chi in defense of her sisters. Her strikes still echo with elemental fury as she searches for the one who betrayed her order to the warlords around. So basically, you know, she was a monk of the Way of the Four Elements. It still technically is, but she essentially used some forbidden chi to save her sisters when they were attacked, and she was exiled and hunted by her own order. So now she walks the road like to like basically go back. and to be, you know, disciplined in her order again. I think with her, like, I wanted her to be a four elements monk, but to like be played as a shadow monk. Like, she used shadow magic, she used shadow chi and energy to save her sisters, but they were like, hey, this isn't, you know, you have gone beyond the elemental forces. Then we have Solon Vey, a Azamar paladin, once chosen by the Dawn Father. As always, we go Morning Lord here. We always go Pelor. Once chosen by the Dawn Father, Solon's divine bond was severed when he saved a cursed soul from execution. Now his radiant blade flickers, its light sustained only by his will, and he journeys to prove that mercy can outshine even the sun. So this was actually kind of like a spiritual cousin in a way to a character that I played, Soul, over at the GM Philosophers channel. So, you know, he was once radiant with divine favor, but now it's like slowly fading in a way. And the deity that like that gave him the power through his paladinic oath is like turned away from him, and he still walks in the light, but it is like through his will and his own force of power. So he wants to like prove that mercy, not just blind obedience, is a true form of like holiness. Next up, we have Kale Thornside, who is a half-orc ranger. He was raised by rangers who hunted monsters until he learned one of those monsters was his mother. So now he stalks the same trails, seeking redemption and answers, unsure whether he hunts the beasts of the wild or the ones that linger within him. So he basically learned to hunt monsters before really learning, you know, like what a true monster was. And these rangers, I mean, these were monster hunter rangers, like that's the subclass. And they slew all that threatened mankind. And he discovered a little too late that one of those monsters was his own kin. So now he hunts the hunters, and his loyalty is kind of torn between, you know, blood and justice and the wilderness that raised him. You know, he's not really sure, you know, like what side of things he should be on. Couple left. We have Vespera Quinn, who is a half drow rogue, a former spy of a noble house in the Underdark. Vespera defected to the surface after discovering her handler's plans to spark a surface war. She sells secrets now, not for coin, but to dismantle the networks she once built. So basically, like for her, it's more of she kind of sees like the moral issue with them trying to like spark a surface war, and is now wanting to work against the noble. So she betrays her master to save the, you know, the surface folk from their schemes, and so works more of like a thief than anything else. Up next, we have Rin Embervale, who is a human sorcerer. The Embervale bloodline is cursed. Each child born with wildfire in their veins. That is a reference to a story that I wrote like 2 chapters of and probably will never finish. Rin was the first to survive the surge, channeling it into controlled flame. But the power speaks, and lately, the fire's voice has begun calling them by name. So, Rin's blood basically burns with, like, a living flame. And it is a legacy that has claimed every Embervale before them that displays this curse. So Rin learns control mostly, but sometimes there is these like temptations of freedom and chaos and destruction and creation. So having to sort of like walk this line between who they are and, you know, what is inside of them. Got two more. We have Eldrick Hollowmare, who is a human warlock. Eldrick made a pact in desperation to resurrect his wife. The entity gave him her voice, but trapped in his mind, speaking only in dreams. So he now seeks a way to free her soul, though each spell that he casts erodes another memory of the woman that he loved. Yo, what's up, Aaron? How's it going, buddy? So basically, I mean, warlock, he would be like an undying warlock or something like that. Yeah, dude, I feel you. I gotta head to bed soon anyway. I gotta be up in about 7 hours. I'll be up in 7 hours to go to a interview. Yeah, kind of like you. So, although you was brought back to life with the powers of warlock, he wanted to bring back his wife. So it would probably be more not the Pact of the Undying, but the whichever one allows you to resurrect. I can't fucking remember. Undead. I don't know why I couldn't think of that. Yeah, it would be undead, because it's more of the yeah, creature that defies life and death. Yeah, it's an interview. It's for a sales position at a forestry company. Yeah, so basically Eldrick's pact gave him power enough to defy death, but also cursed him with the voice of the woman he failed to save. And like every night that he dreams, he hears her whisper to him. And you know, she like he hears them in his dreams. He hears them, you know, whispers on the winds in the silence between heartbeats and stuff. So, but the thing is that in a way to sort of play in the idea of having limited spell slots, like each spell cast kind of fades a portion of a memory that he has, but he refuses to, you know, stop searching for her, or well, a way to free her. Did you have character ideas, then choose subclasses? Some of them, well, okay, so you got to consider that like a lot of these were made over the last 2 years just randomly. So like, for example, that druid one, I'm pretty sure that I found a subclass that was like ghost druid. Like, what if you were a druid of like the spirit world, of like the ethereal plane? Rin, for example, I sort of came up with that character when I was writing that, you know, that little story and stuff. I'm happy that I have the documents still as I've gone along. But yeah, it's kind of just here or there. Like sometimes, you know, sometimes it was a character idea first. Sometimes it was a, what's the one you made for me? There was a druid subclass that allowed you to use your wild shape to like, you could like eat body parts off of characters. Yeah, fucking time. You're telling me, buddy. You could like eat body parts off of people or creatures and like take bits and pieces of them. Yeah, I remember that. And lastly, the last character in this list, Mirren Vale. Now, this one's kind of based on King Gizzard, because just in a way I thought of like, what if there was like a female counterpart to King Gizzard, who is a white dragonborn ice wizard. But this one was sort of inspired by a clip from Brennan Lee Mulligan, where there's this like scene where he's like, you know, what's the most powerful magic of all? What have I always told you? And is like, one of the people's is like, love? And he's like, love? No, chronomancy. So Mirren's mentor, so Mirren Vale, a silver dragonborn wizard, Mirren's mentor vanished mid-lecture, leaving behind only a single word scrawled in frost: run. She has since devoted herself to unraveling the mystery of chronal decay, a phenomenon erasing entire moments from history. Her studies have begun to consume her, sometimes literally. So she is a chronomancer. This would be like the only one that I would actually, yo, what's up, Zach? That I would actually have to like do a more homebrew subclass, because I don't think Chrono-Urgus isn't in the new D&D stuff, but they did have one in, yeah, there we go. I want to say it was Wildmount. Yeah, so it was Chrono-Urgy. Just finished my first character for my first campaign. Fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome. What kind of character? Tell me about him. So yeah, Mirren, the wizard, studies time, or sort of like what's left of it. So she's started noticing like skips in her own memory, and like sometimes thinks she, like, it's sort of like a play on the Clockwork Sorcerer. Like she thinks she hears clocks ticking. So yeah, those were all the characters. And like I said, you know, I kind of need to make like small vignettes for each one. And honestly, probably what I'm going to do for like any given one is use ChatGPT to at least come up with like an image that I can work with, and then like build upon that. A werebear turtle blade singer Echo Knight. Oh, that's mad. You're a blade singer Echo Knight. So your dexterity would have to be your highest stat, but did you go like real heavy into, like, did you min-max into like strength, intelligence, and dexterity? Or I mean, even intelligence, dexterity, and con? Because Blade Singer is a wizard subclass, so you need to have high intelligence and dexterity for that. Because like the whole thing with Blade Singer is that you're like fast and moving and stuff like that. And then Echo Knight is a fighter subclass, which is all about like giants and stuff. So, or no, I'm sorry, Echo Knight. I'm thinking Rune Knight. Okay. Oh, that's right. Echo Knight's the one where you create echoes of yourself. I dumped strength because the werebear hybrid form is 19. Okay. And I guess because of the turtle shell, that does give you a higher constitution and a bump to your AC as well. Okay. I could see that. Seems there could be some secondary characters in the, yeah, I mean, it's there definitely could be. It's not something that I'm like, you know, kind of like I put over in the chat on the Discord, you know, all of this is just for, you know, inspiration. You know, that's all this is really for, is like I want folks to be able to like see this and say like, you know, oh yeah, like, you know, like with Talia, for example, where it's like, you know, how like her mentor, Master Halvin, you know, stole the creation and you know, presented it as his own and, you know, got all the credit for it. And now it's like, you know, you could have somebody who's, you know, who's playing like a, you know, a forge cleric, like a dwarven forge cleric who made a little companion, and like they could be like, oh, I really like that, you know, aspect of, you know, having their mentor taking their creation. So maybe not even like a bird or anything, but like maybe their mentor like took their greatest crafted weapon or something. So now they're hunting them down and like trying to find them after they were kicked out of the guild for rebelling or something like that. I'm building this up to be a fly swatter and never get too close. Okay. I could see that. I could see that. Oh, thanks for the follow, Zach. Much appreciated. Oh, ow, my head. My head. You know, okay, so I know we've kind of done a couple of these scenes. I actually want to get rid of these. Because if anything, this one and this one are probably our better options. But you know what? I actually just had this thought of maybe a way to make life a little easier on myself. I'm going to close out R2 Mod Man. Also, can close that out too. Because if that's not going to work right, we can restart that. Oh, there's an update? Is it a big update? No. Okay. So I have an idea. Okay, so here's... I'll just sort of talk it out. What if I took, you know, the image like this, and, you know, like made this sort of the image. Like, I kind of... Part of me likes, like, having them, like, the biggest feature, almost. I'm gonna try that. Hold on. Okay. Get rid of you. Let's reveal you again. Go into photo mode and... Alright, we need to... Actually, no, let's have depth of field. I want it right up on this anvil. Free camera. Shit. Is Magic still in here? I don't know if Magic's still in here. I want to know if there's like an easy way. Oh, hey, Magic. Jesus. There we go. She should be the focus. Absolutely. Hey, Magic, by the way, is there an easier way other than dragging this bar up and down to like move up and down like vertically? Is there like a button that I can hold, like Alt and like, you know, mouse wheel or something? In photo mode, yeah. In free cam and as well. Gotcha. Well, honestly, I'm not going to complain because using that little bar over there is actually pretty decent as it is. Okay. So I'm going to snap that, and then I'm going to hide this. We're going to open up Hero Forge again. And you know what, Master Halvin, you're going to have to wait. I need to get back to Talia. And I want this one. I kind of want it to be a little sad. Just a little. Okay, let's put that back. I don't care for this pose truly, especially with what I'm going for, which is kind of just that. Okay, so you know what? We're going to do this. We're going to put a hammer in her other hand. Give her a ball peen. No. Blacksmith's hammer. Why does it have to be so fucking big? I say that, but I know the answer. Okay. I feel like I want to like. What's going on? There we go. I feel like I want to just do it from the Kit Bash menu. So here it is. Because then we can adjust the scale. Honestly, it's just the height that like kills me. And you know what? We're also going to change that down there to be a... Nope. That's fine. Relaxed. This one, though, should be a slightly tighter grip. Yeah, I think that's about as tight of a grip as I could do. Okay, but now, Actually, I don't hate that pose. I kind of want the hammer to be a little bit further down. And I also sort of want it rotated. Holy Jesus Christ. Rotate. Okay, I think that's not the worst thing. Because I'm so like I'm sort of playing through. Why does that just look bad? You know, it's like I just shouldn't fuck with stuff. You know. All right, hold on. We're getting rid of that. We're giving her the full size one. It's so big. God, it's so ridiculously big. It's so dumb. All right. Yeah, that's right. I forgot this thing does act as a as like a two-handed thing. That's hilarious. The fuck. You do not need that power stance there, Talia. Not at all. That's not a bad pose. That's kind of dumb. I've never liked this. What's the purpose of that one? Oh! Oh, I dig this. I actually think this one's great. Okay. All right, so yeah, sun up above. You know what? I think doing it this way is going to work a lot better. Okay. All right. So let's go into here. Photos. We'll drop in the new image. Yep. We'll drop in Talia number 6. And I can always add a little bit of color to her like I did with that one, because this definitely has more of like a red. Okay. So let's copy that. We'll put that there, and then do what we've done the last couple times. We want more than a 10% hardness. Jesus Christ. Do do do. Do do do. Oh, you know what? Something I actually just realized? There should be a shadow here. Yeah, there should be like a shadow right there. And honestly, there should be a shadow all on her face. So we're gonna do... Didn't mean to do that, meant to do that. Cool. Just gonna lower. And then what we're gonna do is we are just gonna give it a slight... Nope, wrong button. We are gonna give this a slight red shift. Oh wait, no, what am I doing? I should be adjusting curves. Should be adjusting curves. And we're gonna go into RGB. And we are gonna adjust red just a bit, just to kind of like match the background tone. That's too bright, that's deep. I think that's all right. And then to add just a little kind of meh, I think what I'll do is I will add a very, very slight Gaussian blur. Yeah. And that's just because the only reason I'm doing the Gaussian blur on her is because she has too perfect of edge lines. Because like you can see in the background, obviously he's blurred, but they have like that fade, but like her lines are sort of like too perfect. And I also am thinking to myself, this is probably going to be the last thing that I do before I finish up for the night, but how much would I hate a vignette? And that would be multiply. Wrong way. You know, I don't hate this. You know what I mean? Like, I actually think this works really well. Like, this one actually isn't bad, but I should have it like that. You know, like even with this, like if I copy this layer here and add this as a multiply, just to add a little bit of like a vignette around the edge. There's a lot of contrast between her and the background, makes it hard to focus on her. Yeah, no, you know what? You're totally right. You are totally right. Okay. I'm going to see if I can get we definitely had a bit of a different color as well here. There we go. I think that probably is close. Maybe go a little bit darker. There we go. That's actually really good. Oh my God. I'm gonna have to get rid of that shadow in the background because I'm gonna have to move her around, but that's fine because I can grab you like that. Oh, 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 I like this. I like this so much more. Oh, shit. Okay, hold on. We gotta repeat that. Oh, that Gaussian blur is not strong enough there. No, that's too strong. Let's go 2.5. I like that. I like that a lot. I actually think that works incredibly well. I think the color works well with that. I think the background kind of being out of focus works well. I think it adds a little bit of oomph to her. Okay. All right. So I should have already gone to bed, but I want to try and do stuff because her outfit's the same as, yeah. No, that is the case. All right, I really do need to get to bed. But I want to. All right, I'm gonna save that real fast. I want to get at shit. You know what? The thing is that I'm gonna have to probably wait till tomorrow to do it because like I don't well, actually, you know what? No, fuck that. I think this over here would probably be like a good background shot because like obviously with this image that I'm sort of like referencing, there's like chairs and stuff and he's like presenting it to the guild. So I could put some chairs back there, or I could use one of the taverns instead. Like, which one would... that one's really shitty there. I take that back. That was very rude of me. No way could I create these myself. None of them are shitty. That was just rude. I want to know what the fuck. Just like the dead guy posted to the board. Which this one has a lot of detail inside. It has a lot of things going on. Plus these rooms up here are very nicely detailed. But I'm sort of wondering if like one of these spaces would do well for like maybe like clear out a small section up against this wall and people build for their first map. Oh yeah, that doesn't surprise me in the least. That's what I would have done. Let's use... This one does have multiple floors. Let me see what we're looking like. That's... Mine ended up being 3 floors with no basement levels and a beach. Holy shit. Like, honestly, I could... Oh, you know what? You know what? Actually, this... I know I'm, like, literally looking at the same thing as I was before. What did I just do? Okay. You need to go bye-bye. I know this is the same one, but honestly, if I just get rid of some of this stuff in the background, I could put some chairs. And I could put some chairs there and have, like, Halvin behind this desk holding the bird up. And then I could have Talia in front. And I think that's what I'm going to do probably tomorrow. Because, like I said, it is 11:30. Or it's 1:30. I got to be up at about 7:30 tomorrow. So I gotta be up in about 6 hours. Yeah. So want to thank everybody for hanging out tonight. Huge thank you and shout out to Black Wolf Magic. You have been awesome. Check out his Tailspire page if you are doing stuff with Tailspire. Look at all these fucking awesome assets he has. I'm 100% going to use these. Holy shit, dude, you got so much going on in here. My God, you are putting in work. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining me, for hanging out tonight. Hoping to get this project, up and running soon. I want to get like the art shots done. Get everything kind of stamped out with that. And then once I have the images, then I have to do the voice stuff. And then I have to, get involved with DaVinci and DaVinci Resolve and do the actual like editing and stuff like that. Which I've only used DaVinci like twice for my Echoes of Elsewhere stuff, and that was all just vignettes. That was all just like images. So hopefully I should be okay with that, but if I want to have like the text coming up on screen and like the character popping up and stuff. Oh, my bad. Dude, sorry. My apologies. Black Wolf Magic, Oh, okay. Confusing me now, man. But yeah, so again, thank you everybody. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight. Probably not gonna go live tomorrow, but I might. I have dinner with a family friend tomorrow, in the evening. Kaylee and I are, going over to see a family friend of ours. And if I have time at night to continue working on this, I might, but otherwise, if I don't see you, then I will see you guys on Thursday for the next episode of the First 15. So thanks for joining me, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy your day. Peace out, y'all.